Well, to me, financial inclusion is indeed the civil rights issue of our generation. When I think about my parents' generation, it was about the voting rights. It was about them having the opportunity to have affordable mortgages. Well, who's fighting today for the 26 million individuals who are credit invisible? Who's fighting for the 40% of American households who, according to the FDIC's data, cannot obtain $400 in the event of a family emergency? I have long wanted to be a champion and to fight for these individuals because without appropriate financial inclusion, one cannot really get jobs. Credit scores determine where you get to work today, if you get to work. Credit scores determine where you live today if you want to get an apartment or a mortgage. Where you live determines where you get to educate your children. What your credit score is also determines the car that you can or cannot have access to go to and from work. I believe that those are the filters that really guide me around talking so passionately about financial inclusion, and that is why I'm so delighted that organizations are coming together, harnessing their tools and techniques to bring the unbanked, underbanked into the mainstream so that financial inclusion will again be that civil rights issue of our time. You need to begin with the end in mind. What are you trying to solve for? And I think that's what allows you to open the aperture a lot further. And that is, your mission is to bring more into the mainstream. It is to look at some of these other disparate treatment activities that have taken place heretofore. What is the new model of today going to do to address those deficiencies? It is important that we look at those buying patterns. How are these individuals paying their utilities? How are they paying their rent? How are they really getting by in this cash-based economy? How do we use some of those tools that we can use to detect and to identify the patterns? And then that is a way that we can bring them gainfully into the mainstream. Yes, I'm really excited about alternative data because it is going to bring those credit invisible, those financially marginalized individuals into the mainstream. It does have great promise, and let's ensure that it doesn't have any perils as well. The promise for me around alternative data means that if I don't already have an established credit score, then you're going to use technology to look at how have I paid my bills, maybe through using cash or things of that nature. You're going to look at how have I paid the utilities, the cell phone, and all those types of activities. That's so important. But what are some of the things that worry me? The things that worry me are, what if individuals have perhaps gotten into payday lending or cash lending from some of the check cashers? Those folks are going to be disingenuous, and they're not going to even give them a modicum of getting an opportunity to have a fair chance. So I think we need to make sure that we are looking at those who are reputable. I would like to say that some of the cell phone providers, the folks that you're paying your rent to and things like that, but there also are some bad actors out there, and we need to make sure that we're protecting the consumer data, that the Privacy Act efforts are there in place. And again, but there is a bright future with using alternative data, but it's going to require a lot more research, and it's not a panacea. It's going to be using the alternative data with other things to really look holistically at the borrower's ability to repay. Credit unions need the technology to help them enhance the member experience, but more importantly, it allows them to go deeper with their members. When individuals are able to look at their credit scores, but also when that credit union member sees a pattern, particular member, and say, I've noticed that you've had overdrafts the past 3 pay periods. What can we do to help you? Would you like to have a different loan product? Would you like for us to really give you a different tool that can be used? Financial technology, I think, is something that really empowers credit unions to fully serve their members. You're going to be able to be more strategic and more impactful, and that is how the technology is going to drive the day. And who wins? The credit union members win because they're getting data and tools, and that member wins because they have a member for life. What I hope to achieve as a board member at Zest AI is to really empower and to continue to unleash the great work that they're already doing. You all have already exemplified all of the tenets of ethical use cases of artificial intelligence and machine learning. You all have really gone far broader than any other group that I know of in terms of meeting with your regulatory peers. You've met with NCUA, the OCC, the CFPB. I know a few other peers who have done that. You are doing that because Zest wants to do the right thing, I want to do the right thing. In my oversight of nearly $2.2 trillion in credit union assets and 138 million members, I sought at every given moment to do the right thing by being purpose-driven and mission-driven. And when I had an opportunity to join the Zest board, I found that I was joining another institution that was purpose-driven, that was mission-driven, and that shared my belief in the powerful tools that can be used, the technology, to bridge the economic divide.